Okay, recap for Wednesday, the 15th of April, 2026. Um, in Tuesday's recap, basically, I've done Tuesday's recap today, right? It was like an hour before market open, and I explained what I'm looking for exactly, and that there's a potential we could reach these highs, and we did. And let me just explain the day, really. So, I said we have this sell set, right? And this, but I wouldn't expect it. And I would advise not going shorts, right? I would advise just looking for longs because we are wildly bullish. I also explained, I don't know if I put it in the video or I did the after, but this is just a rejection block, right? Let's go to the daily and let's just explain what we're seeing. So this midpoint of the wick is what would have stopped us if we're not going to go to these highs, right? And I have this on the adjusted contract. Second thing, I have these from this week, right? The rejection block and the CE, right? If we're not gonna go to this high basically, right, today. So these are kind of targets that you would have on the day, and it still would have offered a lot as we were here. This is around 100 points and this around 300 points. So whatever you're targeting, it was upside, right? You're not expecting us to retrace into whatever fair value gap or whatever, right? We're just wildly bullish and we're basically gonna make this whole range not balanced, right? Until we get to our targets, which today we got to one of them and right here, and we're probably just gonna clear the second relative equal high today as well. And then after that, you could start looking at retracements or whatever. Anyway, 4 hour, 1 hour, there's nothing much, right? What I said on the 15 minute, as long as we don't close below this, don't even look for bearish or don't even think about any bearish price action, only look for longs, right? And what helped is on market open, we open and we close this candle at 9:45 above this. So this whole area was basically disrespected. So you just know, right? Start looking at these targets and higher, right? So let's explain the trade and what my thought process was going through. I said at the start, it's gonna be a bit of a disgusting morning session starting, right? Because of the large range and that we have a small opening range gap and stuff like that. And what I meant by that is, for example, let's say you went long anywhere here at the start, like you basically just have to wait because this was gonna happen, right? Like any of this looked like it could have been a good setup from this older block, and then you could take this proportion block, right, or whatever. Just no, not for this thing, and you'll notice we'll go to that midpoint of that daily wick, and that's what we reject from, right? We rejected from it earlier, and we do that by just teeny tiny taking that high out, and it was unfinished business. So I knew because we took it with a wick, I knew that we're gonna come back higher, and I'm expecting bullish price action. And at that same time, I'm still waiting for the first presented fair value gap to get made, and there it does, right? But that's not my trade, right? I'll wait a bit longer. Why? Because on ES, if we see with ES, ES comes down and hits. This is perfectly the new daily opening gap, right? This low is perfectly the new daily opening gap of ES, right? But on top of that, I wanted to see if it was gonna take these two lows, right? ES was close to it, and if it was gonna do that, there was gonna be an SMT with the initial sell side liquidity, and then we could go higher because ES was showing that it was more bearish than NQ. However, it didn't need to, right? Because YM on the other hand was dumping today, and it basically already done that. So it was no reason for it has to go there, but if it did, I'm fine. I'll offer it, right? And NQ was way more bullish, so I wait for it to go in the first presented, and it creates an order block here that I was interested in. However, ES at the time, if we look at 952, 952. ES was still here, right? It was going down, and it had the chance to do it. But once this went back up and closed on the upper half, I was like, alright, cool. ES is not gonna do it. Now I'm safe to enter longs, even though this would be my ideal entry. I don't care because the range is so big when we go to the upside that I don't have to enter early. What happens if I enter, get stopped out, right? We make the SMT and then come back again, and then now I lose out on the day. Stupid. Just wait, right? So this happens, and we go into the wick, and then we go higher, create a minute gap, order block. That's my entry limit right there. Basically, at the wick of the daily wick, right? That's my exact entry. I get my entry here, we go higher, goes back to the entry. I'm expecting all of this because we still haven't reached the rejection block. I don't expect this to be valid. We create a fair value gap through the rejection block. So now my stop loss gets moved to the midpoint of this wick, right? Got to touch that thing here. And I'm just letting it run. And where do I let it run to? Yeah, I let it run to the midpoint of this. So basically, it was from here to here, which is 110 points trade. Not too bad, not too shabby, and that's it for the day. I did not care about the rest of the range. I knew it has the potential to go higher, but imagine I was in my trade, right? We're gonna hit lunch macro sooner or later. Either we could start it here at 10:30 and it didn't. It basically failed, right? 1050 wasn't showing, so we would expect it at 11:30 and beyond. And we look for the first swing after 10. That's too far, right? This is too far. And if we just conceptually just look at the range, when is this 12, right? We're basically in the middle of the macro now. What's that midpoint? Discount, that's liquidity right there. So I knew regardless if I'm gonna leave it, I would get hit at break even or not break even. My trail stops, so I might as well just take it out earlier rather than wait for this. Whatever the range is gonna be set as, and as you can see, once we have the macro, we run against all these stops. And if it was there, I guess if I didn't take the long here, I guess I'd take the long here. I'll probably take the short. I don't know. It's what I would probably take the short. Knowing myself, I like shorting more than longing. But this is a trade. This is a trade. This is a trade. This is a trade. And then after that, it just went parabolic all the way to the relative equal highs and basically all-time highs. So I'm guessing we had this 1222 once we reach ES all-time high, which 1222. No, we actually didn't. Just double check that on. No, I don't think we did. We were way past it. I believe we were way past it. 1222. No. We didn't get to, but we did get to the target I was expecting ES to get to before retracement. So that's that, right? Anyway, it's an okay day. The market is just pumping, and I guess when it's this bullish, don't go against it. That's all I can say. There's really no learning anything new recently, right? This is moving like a repricing Monday, but a bit more aggressively. And the clue in this whole day really comes back to what was it? No, never mind. Just the clue is just waiting, and once you know, like once you know what's gonna happen, once you enter, just leave your stop loss far enough that it's not gonna reach it, and just let it go higher and lower. It's just gonna keep doing this, right? It's not gonna just one shot up higher, right? It is gonna retrace, but once you see the stairs building, right? Like just look at this. Once you see the stairs are building, they're gonna take them stairs. That's all I'm saying. So if you wanna hold for the day, which I guess I don't advise to, but if you wanna hold for the day, you can do it. But just make sure you take profit and then re-enter later, right? There's no point of just losing out on 140, 50 points for no reason, right? Might as well lock in some profits when you think it's done, right? If you're gonna be watching it, you will know when the structure really breaks, right? It'll be basically prominent swing lows. So this swing low, right? You'd be watching this right here. Is this gonna break? This one, no. Watching this, no. Watching this, no. And then here, and it's essentially like, I don't know if you want to say a market structure shift, a breaker structure, whatever. You know, once the first one happens, it will be aggressive, right? So that's why I'd say I would short this normally because look how long the longs is taking, and the shorts is basically instant. So yeah, if you're gonna be watching it for the launch macro, you could take the long, you could take the short, and then you could take the long again, right? I'm working on stuff. I'm not bothered. I don't care. I already taken my one trade for the day, and that's it, max profit. So can't ask for more. Anyway, that's the market recap. Peace out.